Okay, Blade Gang, welcome back to Karambit Central. Believe it or not, yes, I'm OG Blade Reviews, and welcome to the channel if you haven't been here before. And if you have, welcome back. In this rather large box, which came with this small box, is something brand new. Here goes the small box. From Vosteed. I don't generally do unboxings, and the purpose here is just to kind of quickly show you what you get. So it's called the Dirty Girl. It is by RS Knifeworks, and that's Rob. And I'm not going to attempt to pronounce Rob's last name, so it's easier to just say RS Knifeworks, and he is a fantastic custom knife maker who also has done designs for both Vosteed and Civivi, as far as I know, and possibly some more. There's a sticker you get with it. Inside the box, and there's a microfiber cloth. I'm boring you already, I realize that, but that's what you get, okay? Now, this doesn't quite fit for a very important reason that I'm going to explain to you in a moment. Nice foam cutout, etc. This is the sheath that this knife came in, and what came in the small box was this smaller sheath. Now, how is it smaller? It's a little shorter, okay, by about that much. So one holds a little more of the handle, one holds a little less. Kudos to Vosteed on stepping out and getting into Karambit territory. And with a perfect Karambit, really nearly perfect small Karambit designed by RS Knifeworks, the Dirty Girl. Problem being, I had to reform, and here's the beautiful knife right here. There's Rob's logo, RS Knifeworks. Here's the problem right from the start. They really kind of blew it with the sheath. It's a nicely made sheath, nicely constructed, fairly thick kydex, and you would think it would be really fine. Here's a couple of problems. The way the clip is mounted, there is so much force required to take the knife out of the sheath that this clip is going to come right off. I did see a review by Cutting Board Reviews, and he did an excellent detailed approach on how to reform using a heat gun or even a toaster, the kydex, to make it a little bit looser. I did that on the short one, and it snaps in nice. It's a little loose. I didn't do a perfect job. It's not one of my skills high on the list, shall we say. And this also came with the same clip. Here's the thing. Turn the clip upside down so that it comes up on the belt, so when you pull, you are pulling against the hook, not the hook, but the bend in the clip. Either that, or as you're already thinking, put your own Ulti clip on or DCC clip. But I'm going to demonstrate, and I already told Vosteed, I said, people are going to hurt themselves. Hear how loud that snaps in? Well, generally that's good, right? But now we're going to pull it out. And it's actually breaking in just a little bit. So who knows? I use a little ceramic like car spray in there. It slicks it up a little bit, so I don't necessarily need to reform it. But I don't know why they felt you needed two sheaths. It's a nice thing. It probably adds to the $89 price, which is the suggested price. But I don't know that you really need two sheaths. This gives you supposedly a little more security, but out of the box, both sheaths were that tight. This is fine the way it is now. You know, it's about the right tension, even though I got a little bit of wobble, and that doesn't really bother me. And I can thumb it off if I want to. It is a challenge to take a knife with a severe hook on it like this and make a sheath for it. I know that really higher-end knives like Bastinelli, they've struggled with it. Not all their sheaths for Karambit-style fixed blades are perfect. Anyway, take a gander at this knife. It is in 14C28N. I'm going to double check that. Yes, it is. And I'm going to show you some specs on the screen. They've given such a detailed volume of specifications from Vosteed that I'm just going to let you screenshot that in a moment. But we got 14C28N. On this model, we've got green micarta and kind of a bare steel with a stonewash on it. You can also get a black handle with a complete black blade if you want to go the blacked out, murdered out look. Now, as far as karambits go, I'll take off my index ring because it doesn't really do too well with karambits. So this is really mimicking, and I've said this in the past, and somebody said, "Oh, karambits are Filipino and are not Indonesian." Well, the Indonesian Silat and other martial arts from that country tend to use a karambit with a point that goes directly forward. So I would say this mimics that style of karambit. Now, there's some other karambits out there. Steve Tarani has designed many and written books on the karambit. Very good resource. There are other karambits which have less of a curve, and I call them more of a Filipino angle. That's really the angle we're talking about here. The Indonesian karambits were designed to actually eye gouge, right? That you can punch straight with the karambit and utilize the point. Filipino karambits came about a little bit more from agricultural use in the fields for harvesting, because you could cut the stem off of whatever vegetable or fruit that you're harvesting, and you don't lose the knife. You can drop it down like that, swing it back into position, and there it is in the edge forward, point up position, which karambits can also be used with. This is the position you're used to seeing karambits in. I'm going to see if I can back out a little bit more. Okay. In this position, right? Doug Markita is an excellent resource for watching and learning karambit technique. Really, he's the main guy today as far as karambits go on social media and just a widespread distribution of those movements and techniques. He is a Filipino martial artist, really from historically, and I've known Doug in the past. He's been to my school at least once in the long distant past to take a seminar with our mutual instructor, Leo Gahe, Grandmaster, Grand Tuhan, Leo Gahe. Leo, by the way, doesn't really like the karambit because he does consider it a Indonesian weapon rather than Filipino, and you know, I'm going to leave that one alone. He's gotten kind of irritated with some people about that, but that's my point, so to speak. This one, by the way, is a mantis, and I think they call it Mrs. Smith from the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. It's kind of cool. I do like it. Pretty light. It's got that silvery sort of carbon fiber on it. That's just a top layer of carbon fiber. Other karambits. Well, this is interesting because when I saw the Dirty Girl, let's put them this way, I thought of this one. And I actually wrote Vosteed and said, hey, you're copying somebody's karambit. They're saying, no, they're copying ours. Because apparently Rob came out with this design in 2015. 5 years ago in 2019, I picked this up on Amazon. And I'm not even going to give you the name because they regularly rip off other designs. It's almost direct copies, okay? But it is an Amazon knife, very cheap, $20, $25, something like that. It's out of a cheap steel, might even be like D2. They say it's D2. But look at the similarity. Of course, you've got the sculpted thumb rest there. You've got kind of the same little angle and thumb swale there. They put a hole in it for some unknown reason, just to make it maybe different and copyright proof. I don't know. And the blade, very similar, except we got a much taller, broader blade on the Dirty Girl. So having bought that only about 5 years ago, and this having come out from Vosteed recently, I'm thinking, hey, logically, that copied that. No, this goes back to 2015. These came out around 2019. Anyway, that's off the table. We will not discuss that further, but we will talk about another compare here, which is the TKL FLN, designed by Jared Neve. And this is an excellent karambit. It comes in two modalities, you might say. This one with G10 that has one half with a ring on it. So you've got your option of setting it up this way, which I really tend to like, that hawksbill, or using it this way, right? And the index finger rests nicely there. Nice jimping here, and of course this is in a premium steel. I'm not sure which steel on this one, but it's either ADCR V2 or AEBL. I'm thinking maybe AEBL. And there's a second version of this where the tang goes all the way out and forms the ring, and you have a full ringed only karambit. I like this model that Tim sent for review, and I thank him again and Jared for the excellent design on the FLN by TKL. One more for comparison. This is weird. Kind of looks like maybe a toucan's beak or something like that, some raptor's beak. This is a Tucson. Somewhere I had the name written down. It's a night morning design, as you can see, kind of shiny. D2 steel. They did make a second run of these in 14C. I'm not sure they're still available, but this is also, I wouldn't even say that this is a either Indonesian or Filipino design. It's kind of their own design. And that point sort of points up, right? But maybe if you're holding it this way with my arm out to the side, yeah, it's really forward, okay? But it's a nasty recurved blade, and it is sharp. I've cut myself more than once with this Tucson karambit. Okay, all the comparisons are done for the time being, but let's take another look at the Dirty Girl. It's an excellent design. Rob designed it for friends of his who are in law enforcement, tactical, and depend on a close quarter knife to protect them. Here are the specs that I was talking about. Let's see if you can freeze frame those. So if the specs are important to you, including the weight, there they are. That's from the Vosteed website. I'll make sure you have this link so you can read them yourself. There is a little background, introduction to karambits. I mean, they give you a lot of good high-level info here. And here is a Kydex sheath and tips. Mastering the karambit takes time. The Dirty Girl's tight-fitted. Aha, see, they're admitting it. Kydex sheath ensures safe practice while the knife is sheathed. For forward grip, rest your thumb on the sheath's opening to unsheath. For reverse grip, loosen the pocket clip screws and familiarize yourself with the curvature first. So yes, they are saying, and I have tried that, here is the pocket clip. Here are the screws. These can be seen as tensioning screws. I'm not sure if cutting board had gone into that as the possible reason for the sheath being tight. I could get back to this sheath if I play with it a little bit more and loosen those screws. Of course, this clip would likely come off and would be replaced with probably like an ulti-clip would hold it really tight on your pocket or inside your waistband, and you wouldn't have to worry too much about pulling up your underwear, giving yourself a wedgie when you pull it out of the sheath. But that is a possibility, loosening that screw. I'll let you read that screen freeze if you do. But again, I tend to prefer loosening up the Kydex. If you're not familiar with how to do it, check cutting board reviews out on that. I certainly don't mind you going to other websites and learning things, because we've all got a different perspective. I kind of like it the way it is. I don't mind a little bit of rattle. I'm not going to be sneaking up on anybody, and I doubt that's going to rattle very much. One thing I was going to mention is this. If you pocket carry this, and I wouldn't recommend it, if you thumb it off and pull it out of your pocket, you're removing half your pocket and possibly some of your thigh. So I really wouldn't pocket carry this. If you're certain that the sheath is going to be secure, it's possible you could neck carry this, but that may run you into some difficulties as well. So bottom line, I do like this very much. I like the fact that Rob thought and researched karambits so that that point is forward. It's almost slightly up to get, if you were to get picky, right? If I got a ruler here. This is how I look at knives. And a lot of people have said, hey, that doesn't really matter. And, your movement's not going to be perfect towards a assailant or a target. But there's your center line if the knife is in that position. The thing is, position on the karambit is variable. And by the way, you got this gear pattern here. It does provide a good impact with the index finger. By the way, karambits, you should never put that ring all the way up there. First of all, your finger could be broken, or you could be degloved, as they like to say in the Elvia systems at Calderon. They don't like rings on knives. I happen to think that you become proficient at whatever it is that you use a lot. But this would be my normal hold position. I'm not sure I put my thumb there. I think I hold my thumb there. And let's see. We can see that the point's pretty much straightforward with a little bit of upward curve, but it's going to be very useful, both for ripping on the backstroke or for jabbing straight in. Same thing here. If you don't want to use the ring, you don't have to, right? And you can jab straight in with that. You can hook and claw with that. This is a very useful position, and there is at least one karambit style in the Philippines that uses the karambit in the edge forward, point up position. Can you spin it with that ring? Yeah, you can. If you loosen your grip a little bit. I don't have room here on the table to do maneuvers. Not a good space to do it. I've ended up cutting myself more than once by compromising my technique for the tabletop view. But, excuse me, yeah, this certainly could be used this way. It could be used this way for impact. And of course, you got your nice little edge there. Speaking of that nice little edge, before we go, I got some pre-cut paper here, but this is a sharp edge. It is an extremely sharp edge, and probably one of the sharpest edges I've seen on a karambit to date. And that point is just nasty. Thing is, unless you know what you're doing, I wouldn't carry a karambit for self-defense. You've really got to get your skills up there. And the common mistake with karambits for newbies is that you don't know where the point is. On a straight knife, such as this Civivi folder, you always know where that point is. You always know where the edge is. The orientation to the handle is very well known and common. orientation of the point and the edge to this handle is going to be way different. It's 90 degrees, okay? So get used to that, because if you pull back the knife and your hand is here and you just lift it, you're going to cut yourself. It's a whole different animal. Anyway, that's the Vosteed Dirty Girl. Don't know where the name came from. I don't know if they talk about that or not, but it's an interesting name. It may refer to dirty fighting. 14C28N, micarta, green micarta handles, and a nice stone-washed blade. We have the Dirty Girl Karambit. Enjoy and leave comments. Let me know what you think about this little beast. Be well, take care, subscribe, click that logo right over there. Thanks.